Trust the Profits Riders Up. Tim here with the next in our Kentucky Derby Spotlight Series. And today I'm going to be taking a look at Coal Battle. Coal Battle ended up finishing ninth in Kentucky Derby's point standings with 95. And today I'm going to take a look at what we think his chances might be as we move to this Saturday and finally get to the running of the 151st Kentucky Derby. Jump right in here. Take a look at past performances for Coal Battle. He did draw the 16 post here coming up for the Derby. You can see he was a $70,000 yearling purchase, $2,000 stud fee, sired by Coal Front out of a midshipman mare. So you look at right away and you can see the connections aren't one of the major trainers. This is a small time operation here. Lonnie BRILEY, who typically trains down in Louisiana, Oakland, and Arkansas, primarily occasionally runs up in Keeneland and Kentucky Downs. But for the most part, he runs down south. Riding him is going to be Juan Vargas. Love that you get the small time connections here with they get an opportunity to get a Kentucky Derby horse, and they stick with the regular rider in Juan Vargas. This will, of course, be the first Kentucky Derby for both Lonnie BRILEY and Juan Vargas. But love the connections and the story here as we delve a little bit more into it here. You can see that he started off with a maiden special weight at Evangeline Downs in that particular race. That was actually scheduled to be on the turf, got rained off, was on a sloppy track, and broke his maiden right away. Then they sent him to $1 million race at Kentucky Downs. And if you look in that race, that was the race won by Tistastic in the juvenile mile there at Kentucky Downs. And he was far from embarrassing himself at 88-1 in that particular race. Ended up out of 12 horses getting up for a nice fourth place check there. Then they ship him up to Keeneland, and he goes up to Keeneland and runs in a mile turf race up there. Runs in a race that was won by Poster, who we all know has also been on the Kentucky Derby trail and actually won the Remsen to kick off all of the Kentucky Derby preps here, jumping into the season. So that was a horse thought very highly of. But then here's where the magic kind of happened. They take the horse who, although he had the one race rained off of the turf, they got an idea. I was hearing an interview with the exercise rider, and they got a pretty good idea after that race at Kentucky Downs that they thought they had something that might be a little special. Didn't think they had a Kentucky Derby horse. Obviously, I've heard Lonnie BRILEY say that was a dream and something he never thought he would really have. But they thought they did have something. So they put the horse in Delta Downs Stakes and wins first time out on the dirt there. That one was also a wet track, ended up being muddy. So the horse is 2 for 2 on wet dirt. So something to keep in mind going into Saturday, as we've got rain in the forecast here in the Louisville area for the rest of the week, and on and off showers on Saturday even. So we're going to have a wet track for sure. Then they send him to Remington Park in the Springboard mile there, and he goes and wins that one as well. And then the Derby prep start. Smarty Jones, he gets into the Smarty Jones there, wins that race by 4, and they go to the Rebel. Horse was a big underdog. If you watched our live replay that particular day, I called right as they were going into the gate that I actually liked this horse quite a bit. I thought he was a hard trying type. At the type, he had done nothing wrong, was basically 4 for 4 on the dirt, albeit a couple of them being wet, but had done everything that had been asked of him that time, and he turned around and he did it again in the Rebel Stakes. So I wanted to take a little bit of a look here at the Rebel. So let's do that right here. Coal Battle is going to be breaking from the number 1 post, and right off the bat here, you're going to see the 2 gets a slow start. So as we break here, Let's keep an eye on Cold Battle here coming out of the 1. The 2 gets a slow start, so he pops over and takes that position. But watch this right here to where he moves over in front of the 3 as given the opportunity, and then he kind of shuts it down a little bit and sits behind that wall of speed horses up front. And if you've seen the Derby post position draw and you know everything that's going to be on the inside, it's very likely that we end up having something similar here in the Kentucky Derby to where we've got a bunch of horses out front. I'm going to pause it here because I want you to look how he took back off of the speed pretty nicely here in that mid-stalking position, and kind of just is going to wait his time here a little bit. And we'll let this run. You're going to see actually from the front end up here, they're going pretty fast. They went to the quarter in 22 and 2, but he actually runs off the back of the screen here as the camera keeps a look on the horses up front here. And then you can still see his shadow there. And watch right here as he's got horses to the outside. He saw them coming. He tips to the outside just a little bit, and then he's going to come around them with a pretty good move. So he's got enough horses there in front of him, but they're about 3 wide there. And you can see as he hits the far turn here, he's going to end up being about 4 wide right here. But you can see he is full of steam right here. And really coming after Matticat Road up front. So as they get to the top of the stretch, he puts a head in front of Matticat Road and doesn't look back. He is just running away from him. You got Sandman coming up here. He's the gray that's going to be closing fast here coming up, but he doesn't even get up for second. Matticat Road holds on for second. But what a great fight by Cold Battle in this race to win when so many thought that he was just outclassed in that race. And if you're going to look at strictly pedigree and those kinds of things going into the race, I will totally agree 100%. But this is just one of those horses that seems to give it his all every time. And we'll talk about that here in a second. So then he comes back after the Rebel, runs in the Arkansas Derby. And in that particular race, he may have moved a little bit soon, but he did get up into second position early on in the stretch before fading there late and finishing third to Sandman and Publisher. As the track was favoring closers that day, he was kind of mid-pack, and the 2 closers did come and get him late. But the thing you ask yourself is, this was his first time stretching out to 1 1/8 miles, and now he's being asked to go 1 1/4 miles. So obviously there are some questions there. So let's talk about some of those things as far as some of the pluses and minuses here. He's just a hard trying type. He's the kind I like to say got a big heart, and he's going to give it his best effort every time out. There's something to be said for horses like this that seem to outrun their odds, no matter what people say about them. They go and give an honest effort every race in and race out. So you look, he won those 4 straight races. Like I say, all the dirt races up into the Arkansas Derby, had been doing everything asked of him, was 2 for 2 on wet track. Like I said, that's definitely something to keep in mind, as we will certainly have a wet track coming up this Saturday. And with that 3rd place, he's now 5 of 6 on the dirt. So it sounds like he lost the last race, and that's just a real detractor. But when you take it into perspective, I mean, this horse has still been right there, and that was a big move forward. But you say, okay, Sandman beat him. Well, he beat Sandman the race before that, and I know that the extra distance probably benefited Sandman and may do so again here. But I think we've got a couple of things that we could talk about, and that's what's next here as far as strengths. He should get the perfect stalking trip. He's going to have that wall of really fast horses up front, and then he's going to have a bunch of closers in the back. And that's what I'm talking about with the speed closers pace set up here in the race. You've got several horses that we know want to be out front. A lot of the ones in the first 6 positions, 5 of the 6 inside horses probably want to be on the lead. You've got East Avenue coming out of the 12 hole. You've got Owen Almighty coming out of the 20 position. So you've got lots of speed and horses that want to be up front. And then you've got the group of all of the closers that are going to be coming from way back on the track. So I think it potentially sets up for someone like a Cole Battle who's going to set mid trip here in the middle and get first run on that speed as it maybe starts to back up. When you're looking at the negatives here, you have to mention the pedigree. Look, I use the word weak here. I wouldn't say it's weak. Is it weaker than everybody else in the race? Yes. Do we also see horses outrun their pedigree? Yes, it happens. And you know, pedigree things happen when you even look at Cold Front. I mean, Cold Front had the pedigree to go long, and he was a sprinter. So who's to say that Cold Battle doesn't have the pedigree to be more of a sprinter and end up being a horse that can get the distance here? This is a question, the mile and a quarter granted here. So obviously something to consider. Then the crowd and his character. Let me talk about this a little bit. So if you watch some of the early morning works, I was watching yesterday morning, I believe it was, and as he was going out to the track, they were stopping every few feet because Lonnie was leading the horse out. And he would stop. Cole Battle had to stop, and he would look around, and they let him do it. They don't force him out to the track. They let him. He's a little bit quirky, I think, and they let him stop. And he stopped 3 or 4 times before getting out to the track. And then if you watch that workout, he's actually turning his head towards the stands as he's coming down the stretch, kind of looking at the crowd a little bit. So they say he's a highly intelligent horse. And, you know, sometimes those types of horses are a little bit intrigued and get a little bit influenced by the crowd. And we all know the Derby crowd, they don't get much bigger. So something to keep in mind. The distance questions, I've already kind of covered that a little bit. So it's an obvious factor and something you have to consider as you handicap the race. And you know, if we're being honest, his best speed, when you look at buyer speed figures, the Rebel, he ran a 91 and regressed in the Arkansas to an 88. And unless he has a significant move forward here, his best just may not be enough in this field. So final thoughts here as far as how to use Cole Battle, how I plan to use him. I'm not telling you what to do. That's the purpose of this video, is just kind of talk about my thoughts and what I'm thinking, and maybe provide something that makes you either like the horse or hate him, either way. But my thoughts are, I think he's got an honest chance at possibly finishing underneath in the superfecta. I think it's a real long shot, but I will probably have a couple of trifecta tickets where I put him into the try. But I think he's more a 4th place finish threat, and that's how I plan to approach it for the most part. He needs to make sure that they time his move a little bit better. Lonnie Briley talked about that in several interviews. I think he was pretty adamant about it, because every time the guy got interviewed, he talked about how he didn't like how early they moved. So I think given the fact that he's brought it up in several interviews, different interviews that I've seen, I'm pretty sure he's probably brought it up to Juan Vargas. And I would say that they're going to get the timing. And, you know, it's all about the timing, because if you've got the speed and the pace scenario sets up the way a lot think it will, with the speed and the potential, the lack of potential for any of those horses to really hold on for the win here. And you've got the closers at the back. They're going to have to time their run. So if he times it right, maybe he can just time it to get past the speed and get to the wire ahead of all of the closers that are going to be coming late. And listen, at the end of the day, no matter what he does, no matter where he finishes, this has to be, to me anyway, this is probably the best story of the Kentucky Derby. You always get the human interest stories that they like to show on the 56-hour broadcast. Okay, not quite that long, but the long day of television broadcasting when they're trying to fill the time between races, and they show all the human interest stories. And this is a great story. I love this story. I love the connections. Lonnie Briley, I've come to love the man. I didn't really know much about him, but just love his personality and how soft-spoken he is, and just that Southern gentleman way that he comes across there. So you got to love the connections. I absolutely do. So That's what I think for Cole Battle. I think he's got a legitimate shot to finish underneath. I don't think he's a win threat, but stranger things have happened. I thought at 12-1, nobody thought that he was a win threat in the Rebel either. And we all know what happened in that race. And early betting, he's kind of risen up. He was 30-1 early. I think he's sitting at about 32-1 the last time that I checked live odds. So we're most likely going to get that price. And if you've been around this game for long and bet the Kentucky Derby, the superfecta is a bet that a lot of people will play one time a year. It's a bet I don't play much, but in the Kentucky Derby, you can hit some huge payouts, and it's horses like this at 30-something to 1, maybe even higher, getting into be a part of that superfecta that may make for a big payday for you. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you haven't liked the channel, please go ahead and do that and subscribe. Make sure you check out our other spotlight videos. We've also got a roundtable video coming out as well. Check that one out, to where we go through the field one by one, and each of the Trust the Profits crew is going to give you their thoughts and their number one win candidate, their best long shot, some horses that you should probably want to include in the money, and horses we think individually are tosses. And you can see as we consolidate all of that, some of the horses that may or may not be on multiple tickets there, and something, again, everything's a data point as we analyze this and beat the Kentucky Derby to death. But if you're in this game, you love it, and this is our favorite day of the year, I think. So again, drop a comment, let us know what you think of Cole Battle, and until the next video, we will see you at